Okay, good day and welcome at the KVV Leadership Masters Lounge. Our special guest for today is Roy Kapp. Welcome, Roy.
Good morning, Dan. Yeah, nice to see you, and nice to chat.
Just to give you a bit of an intro of what we're planning to discuss today, we're going to ask Roy to share his thoughts on leadership and culture. For those who don't know, Roy's got a master's in organizational leadership. So we're in very good company, and I'm looking forward to having a conversation with you and ask you a few questions. So let's get going, Roy.
Yeah, okay. Awesome. Thank you.
The first question is obviously it's a tough situation we find ourselves in, not just in South Africa in our company, but in the world, is this period of lockdown. So what's your thoughts and what have you learned from this lockdown period?
From lockdown. Yeah, obviously at first in the world we heard of a lockdown of this measure, or in any measure at all. And a lot of thoughts comes to mind. It's everywhere we find ourselves in our homes and isolated from the world as we knew it before, and with rules and regulations, all for the reason of the COVID-19 and for health's sake. So what have I learned in this time is that isolation is either given you an opportunity to grow yourself and learn about the family and the people around you, and bring yourself renewed and refined and redefined, maybe back to the community of the workplace later on, once lockdown is over. And from a leadership perspective, lockdown has also learned us quite a bit. Is how do you prepare for something like this? And we were given a couple of days to go into lockdown and get our ducks in a row. And what stood out for me is the resilience and the innovation that came about in doing so. Everywhere people adjusted automatically to work from home and get technology going and adapt to the situation as they are much quicker than anybody anticipated. So yeah, the two things, obviously, isolation has learned me how people can cope with their own company and their families in confined spaces, and learn and grow from there. And then the resilience and the innovation that came along with how do we adapt the way of work within a day or two to work from home, and then get onto Zoom meetings and find a way to keep our clients happy and interact with our staff. So yeah, lockdown for me, it was a time of reflection and a time of preparation as to how the new world is going to cope and work in the new way forward. Thank you.
Yeah. Talking a bit about culture, I want to just stop there and ask you, KVV's culture, which you've obviously been an integral part of over the last 5 years. What has changed, and how do you view culture, and how did KVV deal with it more specifically as an organization?
Yeah, what an interesting question to answer. Let's talk about culture a little bit in the broader sense, and then we'll bring it down to KVV. Culture, we find it everywhere. You've got it in countries, you got it in your home, you got it in classrooms. Wherever there's a congregation of people, there's some sort of culture that organize and present the way that specific community works and how they think and how they do things. So that to me is the short definition of culture. Is how do we do things? And culture is really defined by the leadership of that community, and in our world it will be our organization. So it's a very, very intentional thing that you got to go and decide, what is our culture, what values are our culture based upon, and then build from there into that community as to what the values are and how we how we see culture. So from the values that we live by, we then put it into action through our culture, the way we do things, how we handle situations, how do we handle crises, and just the normal day-to-day stuff, how we do that. And if leadership does not set that tone from the very start, the people around that organization is going to set the culture anyway. So you can either find you in an organization with a culture that resonates with not just the organization and the leadership, but with the people there as well, or you find yourself that you've got a culture that was set by the people themselves, and then leadership is finding it very difficult to change that culture and then to define the vision and take the people forward towards that vision, because that change of culture is something that is very, very difficult to change, and it takes a long time to really set down and cultivate and really have the culture grow and become something very personal. So at KVV, we've got the culture. We've defined. Let's start with our values. Obviously, we've defined our values, of which credibility is and people and courage are integral parts of our vision as well. And based on that, we cultivated a culture where we say that the person or the people, the stakeholders, clients, the people that works with us, the buyers and sellers, whoever they are, that they are the most important stakeholders or the important focus of our culture, because organization is a living organism, and it's a living thing, and we live through the people in that organization, and that sets the tone, that sets the culture, and what we've been able to do well at KVV is that we have a culture of caring and love for the people around us, and really build them up. And upskill is a word that we use, and they really feel and know that they are important for us, and that we'll do our best for them. And what has happened and what has transpired, especially now, lockdown, is they stepped up to the plate and adapted to their new normal, and did what was asked of them in a very difficult situation. You work from home, you are on environments with your kids and whatnot, but still they were there every morning, did their work, and really helped us to keep the boat afloat and keep the clients happy. And purely because that they feel valued, they gave that value and loyalty back to us. They've taken courage, and again, that's something that I would allude to. The courage that they have is basically based on the fact that we tell each other, KVV, is that courage is knowing that someone's got your back, and they know we've got theirs, and it comes back to us. So so we're working from home. Everybody did what could and did it at the best of their abilities, and we're almost out of lockdown and coming back. Everybody looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to see how we're gonna go into this new future of ours in a new normal and build on that, because I know we've got the right people, and we've got a culture of winning and adapting and caring. So yeah, culture to me, obviously, one of the most important things in a firm.
Yeah, thanks for sharing the way you do things at KVV and the way we build this company. You alluded to the new normal, and there's a lot of speculation around the world of how the new normal will look after lockdown. Let's say in a month's time, in 6 months' time, let's call it in 12 months' time. What's your thoughts on it, and will it be different, or will it be the same, or how's the new normal after lockdown?
Yeah, Dan, if you look at the media and you listen to people, everybody suddenly jumps on the bandwagon and say, this is how it's going to change. You got to be ready for that. And there is a lot of change. We're doing Zoom meetings. We're working from home. we can't go anywhere, and there's a phased unlocking of lockdown and. But the question I then ask myself is in the midst of this change, change is something that's been happening since the beginning of life, the beginning of Earth, whenever, and through those millions of years or hundreds of years, what has actually stayed the same? What is the common denominator that enabled humankind to work through a depression, a world war, a cold war, a crisis upon crisis? What was the common denominator? And in my view, that common denominator is people, and the value of the people around you, and how they can help each other and help you to take a crisis head on. Obviously, it comes with a change and their own set of rules, but the basic thing is the value of the people, the value that we actually care about the people and they care about us. And one of the values, especially at KVV, is caring for people. So there's a love factor to that. So what does that mean in the working environment? Because it's a practical thing, and we've answered that question for ourselves. It's actually to do the right thing at the right time for the right reason. So first of all, stop, reflect, and ask the right question. And this is the question we ask: what is the right thing to do? And we do it for the right reason at the right time. If we can answer that question truthfully, then we'll come up with the best solution for the people around us, and it will come from these people, because we got to get their input and redefine. So basically, then we go back to our people. We redefine, not redefine. We decide on a strategy and go forward and communicate it properly to them. Get their buy-in, and we get their buy-in by getting their input as well. And once we get the buy-in, we know we've got human capital that will be motivated by the shared vision that we've got, and take the company forward as we strategized, and by the action steps we decided on, and knowing that we've got each other's backs, and we'll get through this crisis. And this won't be the last one. There's another one and another one. And lastly, people say is 10% of things that's happening is something that is by your design, but 90% of our actions is in response to what's happening around us. And this is no different. This is, we didn't ask for it, we didn't see it coming, but we are forced to react to it. And the best way to do that is having the right people around you to adapt to the new normal. So basically, the answer is yes, lots of changes, but the common denominator is our people, the values that we treasure, and if we look after our people, they are our capital that will really get not just your family, not just your business, but that's the law of life. We'll get through this because of the people around you, the right people. Thank you, John.
Yeah, Roy, thank you for your time. I think just in closing, it's evident that people and leadership and company culture is important at KVV. Do you think it has a huge impact on how profitable or how successful an organization is? Is that the pinnacle or the core of the results that a company or organization get? Is that a fair comment to say that it's all about the culture and the culture that the leaders create and the culture that the employees are also allowed to contribute to?
Yeah, I think, Darren, it's a common, not a common question, but a very important question to ask, because especially in business organization, bottom line is what it's all about. We still need the money. We still need to make money to keep the business going. So the question is do you just chase the bottom line, or is there something more to the bottom line? And what we find from our side in KVV is that once you've got your values and your vision straight, and you look after your people and you grow them and you give excellent service through them to the outside world, the bottom line will really look at itself. Not that we say that proper planning and structures is not important. All of that is important, but once you've got all the planning, the strategies, and the business plan on the table, you need to execute. And who will those be? That will be the people that work with you, and the quality of their abilities and service determines the value that you put out there, and return of value obviously is the money and we make from our services rendered. And so bottom line, yes, important, but I truly believe that the value our people bring to the table in their service providing to our clients increases that bottom line. If we walk within the parameters of our vision, our structures, and our policies, then yeah, that's the long answer of the question.
Yeah. Roy, thank you for your time. I'm sure all our listeners got a lot of food for thought, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the next 5 years and see where this company culture is going and how it's going to grow, especially in testing times. And I'm sure the company will just grow from strength to strength. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Dion. Yeah, so it will. Nice to chat.
Okay, cheers. Bye.
Cheers, bye.